Anyway,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But it is, I think now more than ever, work is becoming secondary for the first time in a very long time in our society.
yeah. It's interesting that you talk about that because when you mentioned work, it made me think about systems. And that's one of the things that's changing are our systems. And our systems are changing in ways that we don't even realize yet. So I was thinking about people that used to go to work and now they work from home. Eventually, they'll go back to work. And the thing is that I've been saying for months, we are in an altered state of reality and we don't even know it. Because I've been in an altered state reality many times, going on pilgrimages or being on special trips or being in ceremony
Oh
or,
my gosh, the 10-10-10 retreat that we went on
yes,
with Jim Self.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, talk about an altered state of reality. That was intense.
It's true. And the thing is about an altered state of reality is that usually when you're in it, it feels normal.
Yeah.
It feels like it's just you're just doing what you're doing and it's just another thing. But for me, and I don't know if it works this way for everybody, but for me, I usually don't realize that I was in an altered state of reality until I return home back to my routine.
Mm.
And when I look back on it, it takes a completely different quality than anything else that happens. So, like if I just go on a regular vacation, I go vacation and come home, oh, that was fun. I look back and I've got all those memories. An altered state of reality doesn't work the same for me. I'll go on a pilgrimage or go do ceremony or something like that. And like I said, while I was there, it felt somewhat normal. I'm just having the experience. But when I get home and I look back on it, it takes on I guess the best way that I could describe it is kind of a dreamlike quality.
Yeah.
And and so we're in an altered state of reality because everything shifted, there's no normal that's settled. And so when I think about systems and I think about people returning to work, there's so many of us that don't realize that when we quote unquote go back to work and we return to those buildings and that sort of thing, that's also going to be altered because this has changed everything. People have been working, from home. Now they've got to get used to working back at work. I've wondered for myself, because I've got much less social interaction, especially physically, than I used to. And I wonder, and you've mentioned before, I think you mentioned in boundaries, in our video boundaries, you mentioned the fact that you feel like you've lost a bit of brain function. You're
Mm-hmm.
not thinking as clearly, you're foggy headed, that sort of thing. And so it makes me wonder the same about social interaction. Might we be a little bit strange or awkward in our social interactions when people are crammed back into cubicles, working with everybody, and then you've got variations of everybody's been living differently, right? You can still even live in the same geographical location, but living differently depending on, how big your family was, how much you chose to do, during this whole thing. I mean, there's so many things that ended up shifting. And so getting back in interaction and not even talking about, are they mask wearing? Are we still social distancing? Are we, still disinfecting, and the changes that could bring in a workplace that aren't even just about returning to work.
Mm.
And so all of a sudden we're kind of different as we head back into the same environment. And so even once the mask wearing and just everything goes back to not any pandemic concern anymore, I think we're going to look back at this time and realized, in fact, we have been in an altered state of reality. I think 2020, it's been kind of a bit of a cosmic humor to me, as we have a tendency to say hindsight's 2020.
I know. How about that?
Yeah. And this, I think this year is going to kind of bring that in spades. And I think there's going to be a looking back too, and a feeling who we are now compared to who we are in the future, that I think is going to feel a bit different. And so, how do we integrate those experiences? Because so many of us are waiting to return to normal.
Okay, well, here's how.
Go ahead.
Well, I say here's how, but I love this. I love what you said. It's so true because you're thinking about things that are potentially uh, very possible and very realistic.
Mhm.
And so when we are where we are now, and we'll use going back to work as an example. So when I go back into the workplace, it's going to be just like it was. Joan's going to be in that cube, and so is going to have that office, and it's just going to be work as usual, or whatever. You have a different expectation of what it will be, but that's the memory you have of work.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the memory of life is is now history. So you're creating a new one. It's like planning a vacation, and you anticipate the vacation and you're excited about it, and you're like, oh, and I'm going to lay on the beach and it's going to be great. I'm going to have my fruity cocktail. I'm going to be so relaxed. And, I just think about how great the vacation's going to be. And then the vacation comes and it's rushing to the airport, standing in line in security, checking the bags, the plane is delayed, you're sitting next to somebody who's, snoring or whatever. I mean, and then you get there and your luggage is lost or delayed or something happens, and then you go to the hotel and you got to go through the check-in process. And it's like, there are more hassles, it seems like. And then if you're traveling with children, changes the vision a little bit. Um, right?
And then it's storms. It rains every day while you're there.
And you can't be on the beach. But even if you could be on the beach, you finally get to the beach and you're like, I'm on vacation. Isn't this wonderful? Oh, well, we better get ready for dinner. And then it's getting ready for dinner. But you're never truly enjoying the moment of the vacation as much as the anticipation was.
Yeah.
Exciting. It was more exciting than anticipation than the actual event itself. And so when you prepare for change, what I love about what you said is just highlighting all the potential outcomes and then saying, wow, well, what if it isn't going to be the same? What would be different? And how am I bringing myself into that new environment?
Yeah.
You get to plan ahead, and this is called anticipating change and adapting to change, and also being part of the co-creation process of change. And now you get to create what that outcome is going to be.
Yes.
So we could create the line and security being part of vacation, and you'll never know who you meet, talking to the person next to you, learning about their culture, their background. I mean, all kinds of cool people you can meet in an airport. But that's part of the vacation, it's part of the journey. This is part of the journey. Anyway, I think I trailed off a little bit, but did I make the point? Did I tie it back? I'm not sure if I tied the point back or not. Uh, but the whole idea is being prepared for change and the integrating.
Yeah. So you running through that scenario made me understand something else about change, because sometimes it might not even be change at all. Sometimes it's just different than another E, our expectation
Oh,
of
yes.
what it's going to be.
Yes.
Okay. That's change in its own right, right? Because if we have a preconditioned idea or a notion of what it's going to be, and then we have an expectation. And
Mm.
then when we get there, when it doesn't meet the expectation, that's change, right? All of a sudden we got to switch tracks.
That's disappointment.
Yes. Well, when you have expectation, the majority of time you can expect disappointment, because you've set yourself on this is what the path is going to be, and then often haven't built in any flexibility to be able to respond when you get there and find out that wasn't what it was at all.
Yeah, it's like having a baby. You can't wait to have a little baby, and oh, I can have a little baby, and I get to dress him up and hold him and take care of him. But what you don't really envision is the sleepless nights, the spit up, um, and those things.
Yeah,
And so having some realistic expectations is absolutely key. That's such a great point.
yeah. Well, and really trying your best not to have expectation.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, releasing, not being attached to the outcome. Yeah, I
expectation.
totally agree. That's the best way to go.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard to do. I mean, so many things. It's one of the things that I've learned, over time, is there's a lot of things that I talk about, and they're so easy to say, but putting them in practice is more difficult. And so, a lot of times it's like, well, yeah, that, but that's so hard. Yeah, I get that it can be hard, but is it not worthwhile? And is it where you want to go, and how do you want to get there? So yeah, a lot of things that we talk about take, consciousness, awareness, self-discipline, accountability, courage, just the courage to make the choices to change our expectation or our mind about what we thought it would be, and to see how quickly we can bring ourselves into line to say, oh, well, that's not what it was, but I'll just go with this because this is the reality of the circumstance. Yeah, interesting. Very, very
Yeah.
interesting. And so,
Until next time, just be your best self.
and remember, head up, eyes forward, don't look back.
We've got this.
We've totally got this. Bye, girlfriend. Bye bye.